Some time had passed since Lumina had travelled through the forest of whispers and across the river of reflections. She began to feel weary, as she knew that her next task in particular would be harsh and laborious. Her shell, which had previously been a beacon of bright and wonderful magic, now dimmed to a gentle glow. Overhead, the sky roared with an energy that promised a storm. The clouds were a canvas of brooding hues that were driven by fierce, howling winds. Rain began to fall, and every so often, flashes of lightning would send veins of light crawling across the sky. During these brief illuminations, Lumina saw it stood there, its silhouette jagged against the troubled sky. She could see its craggy faces, a patchwork of cliffs and boulders that were rugged and unforgiving. Lumina struggled and fought against the relentless rain. Slowly, she approached the foothill. She stopped and gathered herself as she pondered the enormity of the task at hand. She was ready to begin the ascent. She had reached the mountain. Part 3. Mountain of Echoes. As the rain intensified and the storm swirled, Lumina could hear the anger of the mountain. Deep, rumbling sensations could be felt through the ground itself. The air grew cold and thin as she slid along the narrow passages that clung to the mountain's side. She looked around for any sign of life or memory that would give her hope, but there was only darkness. Even the forest, which now seemed so far away, held glimmers of prospective promise. The wind, which was now whipping at Lumina, carried a voice so melancholy and sombre. It spoke of days when the mountain rose majestically towards the sky. Its skin was cloaked in a rich quilt of forest, and its valleys were alive with wildflowers that would sing in the afternoon sun. Further up the mountain, Lumina stopped. The earth was littered with loose stones and gravel, the rock's face weathered and beaten by years of battle with the elements. Here, the wind told stories of dramatic landslides, of the earth shifting under immense forces, reshaping its very face. She could sense the unforgiving nature of the mountain, its anger and rage bubbling from deep within its core. And those who would try to conquer it would perish. Some lost to the elements, overcome by the cold, or caught in a sudden storm that would turn the mountain into an insurmountable barrier. Others misjudged the stability of the terrain, falling to their doom as the ground crumbled beneath them. As Lumina navigated this treacherous terrain, she decided to tell the mountain of her journey. She shared with it the memories of lush green life that veiled the forest of whispers, and of a time when the river of reflections nourished the land. She explained that if it would share its secrets, she could go forth and preserve the memories of the dying world. The howling wind that echoed through the passes, hushed to a gentle murmur, and the pelting rain that crashed against the rocks slowed to a stop as the mountain listened to her plight. After some time, the mountain agreed that if Lumina could make it to the peak, it would share its secrets and memories so she could continue her journey. A sense of relief washed over Lumina as she moved through the jagged earth. Slowly but surely, she was filled with a determination to reach the peak. She passed the remnants of old, gnarled trees, their roots clinging to the rocky soil, and she toiled over great ruins that were desperate to cling on for life. The air grew thin as she approached the summit, clouds clinging to the glorious peak. Swirls of colourful light began to dance around her, and she saw memories of sunsets blanketing the earth in a warm golden glow. Shrines and temples were nestled in its crevices or perched on its heights, places of quiet contemplation and worship. Villages dotted the lower slopes, clusters of stone and wood dwellings that huddled together against the elements. Traditions and customs grew around the mountain's seasons and moods. Festivals celebrated the sowing and harvesting of crops, the changing of seasons, and the mountain's bounties. Memories continued to swirl, filling the sky. In this moment, something had caught Lumina's eye, something that she had not yet encountered. It was different from the others. It showed a city thrown into the shadows, neglected and desolate. Within the city, she saw a glimmer of magic, the same magic that lay in the spiral depths of her shell. What was it? Was it another creature like herself? As these questions buzzed around her, she knew that her journey here had now come to an end, and that she must make her way to the city of darkness. She absorbed the last of the memories and secrets that the Mountain of Echoes offered and started to make her descent. In her small but significant way, she had captured the essence of a place that was slowly slipping away, ensuring that its echoes would never truly fade into silence. Part 4. City of Darkness. As twilight descended upon the city, the sky transformed into a mesmerizing painting, a brief interlude between day and night. The horizon, painted with strokes of deep purples and blues, faded into shades of fiery orange and soft pinks, the last vestiges of the day's light clinging to the underside of wispy clouds. Lumina felt a mixture of fear and excitement as she approached the city. Once a bustling metropolis, it now stood neglected, a ghostly shadow of its former self. The buildings, tall and imposing, stretched towards the fading light, their windows like hollow eyes, empty and lifeless. She closed her eyes, attempting to recall the memory she had seen on the mountain. Fragments began to surface, and the hazy forms took shape. She could see the glimmers of magic. Looking deeper within the memory, she could see the outline of a fountain. Lumina knew that she needed to find it. The streets were now shrouded in darkness. A slither of light from the moon provided only a slight relief from the thick, black cloak of night. Lumina moved slowly along the path, being careful not to disturb the blanket of debris that lay before her. She could see small cracks sprawling across the roads, with weeds stubbornly pushing their way through the fissures. Up ahead, Lumina could see memories swirling around the tall buildings. Her path was blocked by a graveyard of cars. She carefully navigated through the jumbled mess of worn metal. The vibrant colours that once adorned these vehicles had long since faded under the sun's harsh rays, leaving behind only dull, lifeless shades. As she approached the memories, a beautiful array of colours burst into the air around her, penetrating her shell. She could see the energy of bustling crowds, hear the sounds of conversation, and feel the gentle hum of vehicles as they passed by. The shop's doors opened and closed in a constant rhythm, welcoming steady streams of customers. The air inside was a blend of different aromas: the rich scent of leather from a shoe store, the inviting smell of freshly baked goods from a bakery, and the subtle fragrance of perfumes from a cosmetics shop. As Lumina soaked in the last of the memories, she heard a noise. A beautiful melody wove its way through the breeze. It was soft and fluid, rising and falling with a rhythm that echoed a heartbeat. Although a melancholic tune, she sensed hope. Her weary body carried her through the labyrinth of decaying streets as she followed the entrancing tune. Lumina found herself entering what once was a park. She passed through the rusted, creaking gates that were hanging loosely on their hinges. The paths were overgrown and littered with leaves and rubbish. As she travelled deeper into the park, the melody grew louder and louder, rising and falling in pleasant waves. And then she saw it. The fountain that she had seen in the memory, it sat lonely and crumbling in a state of disrepair. A stream of light trickled from the cracked basin. Lumina steadily moved up to the bowl where she discovered a box. The box, much like her own shell, radiated a faint but unmistakable aura of magic. Intrigued and drawn by its allure, Lumina approached it cautiously. It was a vessel, crafted from an unknown material. It shimmered with a soft light that pulsed in rhythm with Lumina's own shell. It was as if the two were singing an ancient, forgotten song in perfect harmony. As Lumina reached the vessel, she understood its purpose and the choice it presented. It was a relic of a time long past, created to guard the world's lost memories. It was a larger, more powerful version of her own magical ability, but with one significant difference. To activate it, a sacrifice was required. It needed a guardian, a keeper of memories who would become one with the vessel, entering an eternal slumber to ensure the memories would live on. In that moment, Lumina entered the box and rested her exhausted body, falling into a deep, timeless sleep, her spirit and essence forever intertwined with the vessel. Her shell, glowing with the magic of 1,000 memories, became the heart of the vessel. The memories she had gathered, the laughter of rivers, the wisdom of forests, the whispers of dark cities, all found a permanent home within the vessel, preserved for eternity. Lumina's journey and sacrifice became a legend, a story told and retold, reminding all of the courage of a small snail who carried the weight of the world's memories. In her eternal sleep, Lumina continued to whisper the tales of the past to those who would listen, her spirit forever entwined with the essence of a world that once was. In the heart of the city of darkness, Lumina, in her silent vigil, became a symbol of hope and remembrance, a guardian of memories in a world that had moved on.